Hello YouTube, this is Froogle, and today we're taking a look at a rather unique simulator. This is Real Flight 7. Now, Real Flight 7 is a radio control simulator, so it's a little bit hefty on the price tag. I picked this up a couple of weekends ago for $160, which on the one hand makes it cheaper than Prepared from Lockheed Martin, but on the other side is still a hefty price tag for what is effectively a radio control simulator. The reason for the price tag, though, is it comes with an 8-channel Futaba control, which actually plugs into your PC via USB. Now, this controller is actually interlink capable, which means if you have a compatible controller of your own, you can plug it into the back of this and use that controller instead. But more importantly, if you have an instructor to hand, when you're learning to fly these expensive radio control aircraft, you can actually pay instructors by the hour. So if you have an instructor, then he can plug his controls in, and you have two, pilot and first officer, I guess, pilot, co-pilot, pilot, instructor, and he can salvage your aircraft when you do the unmentionable and damage it. Now, obviously, the point of this sim is to learn how to fly radio control aircraft, and they've done a really, really good job. It's incredibly realistic, but more to the point, let's just click on fly here. They have a bunch of aircraft built in. You get tons of aircraft with this. If we click on all, here you go. Here's all the aircraft. And there are brand name aircraft, a lot of them in here. So Top Flight is a well-known brand, for example. Thunder Tiger is another well-known brand. And you can choose the aircraft that you're planning to get or that you have got. And that's really where this sim, I think, pays for itself. I'm into helicopters, radio control helicopters. I'm not very good at them. I've had a number of coaxial helicopters. I've got one now. I've got two now, actually, coaxial helicopters. I have a quad, and I have a fixed pitch helicopter as well, fixed collective pitch helicopter. And I want to grow into the more advanced stuff, like this Thunder Tiger 700 here. I guarantee if I was to go out and buy one right now, I would wreck it and cost myself a fortune. If I was to go and get an instructor, that would cost a fortune. I think I'm going to have to anyway at some point. But the point of this sim is to really let you practice safely without wasting hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Now, they have aircraft in here, they have helicopters, they have float planes, they even have gliders in here, and it's actually a really, really cool program. Look, let me get rid of this pop-up here. If you go over to the side menu, you can choose the aircraft as you saw, the location. You can also pop up overlays. So here we are. This is an overlay showing my airspeed, how much fuel, 24 ounces, is remaining on board this aircraft, what my frame rate is. I can bring up the controls here, so you can see an indication of what I'm doing with the controls, which is very, very cool. A thought that just occurred to me, some people are going to ask, can you use an Xbox controller with this? I don't know, I really don't. I think there might be a demo available that you can go and get, but I don't know. Anyway, we can bring up a binocular view. Because we're playing on a computer, we have a very small display, and when the plane or helicopter gets a little bit far away, it's actually quite hard to see, whereas in the real world, obviously, we have much higher resolution eyeballs and their monitors. So you can pop open this binocular view, put that down there, and it shows you a good close-in view of your aircraft, so even if it's far away, you can see which way up it is and all that good stuff. Let me put this in the air. I can show you what this is like. This is a pretty tricky aircraft, but I've been playing with it. And I can flick one of the switches on the controller, by the way, and turn smoke on, smoke off, which is useful as well for visualizing what we're doing. Now, I can only speak for the realism so far in the helicopters that I've flown. A couple of the helicopters I've had, the fixed pitch and the coaxial, are in here. And it seems very realistic. I don't know how realistic the aircraft flight is, but it feels very realistic indeed. I mean, the aircraft will stall. It will do everything that an aircraft should do. It doesn't feel like I'm playing a video game. It really does feel like a simulator. And again, because I've got no fear of losing my money here if I wreck it, I can do all sorts of crazy stuff and get a feel for how to fly an aircraft, which is so cool. Really, really cool. So I could choose from the list the aircraft I want to buy and then run it up in the sim here and get a feel for how it actually performs and practice without risking anything. If you do go ahead and break it, there's a really neat feature. So I broke that. What I can do is I can hold down a rewind button, which is so awesome, it's not even funny. There you go. Let's reset my flight to there, let go, and away we go. And try again, which is very handy for practicing those landings and those approaches. And I've been playing with this particular aircraft quite a little bit. I'm getting quite comfy with it, actually. I like it. You can do all sorts of wonderful stuff once I get this under control a little bit. In terms of the environment... Oh, we broke it. Let's reset. Says he. I'm getting quite comfy with this. Bang. Anyway, let me show you some stuff. So put the smoke on so it's easy to see. We'll go into a straight climb, let it stall. A little bit of a tail slide. And down it comes. Very nice. We can obviously do some snap rolls here. Do some barrel rolls as well. albeit not a very good one. I was trying earlier to put this on a knife edge. Let me see if I can do that again. So we'll just roll it to the right 90 degrees and feed in some left rudder. Check that out. That's pretty cool, right? And roll it level and climb. And of course you can practice your landings. Now some of these aircraft you can even bring up a little pop-up view, like the Binocular View. You can bring up a pop-up view which shows you the view out of the cockpit or out of the nose of the aircraft, which is a neat concession to the fact that we're on a computer. I like that, but I don't think this is one of them. Anyway, let me try and land this. I'm going to turn the smoke off. We'll bring this around, bring it in for a landing. Now, I know many of you, not many, but a few of you, are very familiar with radio-controlled aircraft, so please excuse my noobness. I make no pretense of being an expert in radio-control stuff, especially aircraft, and especially helicopters, which you're going to see in a minute. So forgive my complete and utter noobness if I'm doing things awful, but you get the idea. Isn't that cool? Put some rudder in there and steer this around. And look, all animated surfaces and everything else. If you get the more complex aircraft with flaps, then you can see the flaps working. In fact, there are some stunningly, amazingly complicated aircraft in here. Look, if we go up here and go to the aircraft menu, and we'll scroll up here and see if we can find an Osprey. There's actually an Osprey in here, which is... I didn't expect to see that. Where is it? It's not... Am I missing it? I am not missing it. I think it's got a brand name in front of it. So there's a Harrier. I can show you the same sort of thing with a Harrier. Check this out. This is a proper scale model of the Harrier you can get, and one of its very cool features is you can angle the nozzles. There you go. So the rotator that I have on the 8-channel controller here, which normally controls flaps, actually controls nozzles on this. So you can give it some power. And practice your Harrier hovering. It's got to gear up. Is that crazy or what? Let's see if we can get some forward flight in here and I'll roll those nozzles backwards. There we go. Very hideously complex and expensive aircraft. And again, if we do something stupid like that, we can just hit the rewind button. And you see, it's actually pretty good damage modeling. You saw bits of it break off before the whole thing just wrecked. So probably going into that loop was a very bad idea. It didn't have enough speed yet. There we are. And my flap should be up. I don't know why it's being a little strange. And there's no way in hell I'm going to land this, but let's see why my binoculars are not working. There we are. You can see what I mean. As it gets far away, it's very, very hard to see it. Which is why that binocular view is very useful indeed. Should we try and land it? Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. So gear down. That should be the gear down. Yeah, it is. I can see from my close-in view there. No idea how to land this at all. I'm sure it involves flaps and angling your nozzles. But this is why I actually don't fly these things. I'm not very, very good. Quite a lot of speed there. It feels very fast. Well, it was very fast. Nasty bounce. Go around, Froogle. And so on and so on. Let me reset. So that's one of the crazy aircraft. I still want to find that Osprey because it's rather spectacular to look at. And then I'll show you some of the other features of this software. It has a training mode. It has a number of training modes. You've got videos in here. You've got training challenges in here. You can even go multiplayer, and you can take this online and then arm some of these aircraft and try to shoot your friends down if they own it. Obviously, not many people own this, but you get the idea, right? There's the Osprey. Oh. I don't know. Oh, I got to angle my blades. Let's do that right now. There we are. Then we'll reset. So fully retractable gear on the Osprey, and of course the angling. Oh, those incredible blades. And we're up in the air. So then the idea, of course, would be get some forward momentum. And once you have it, start rolling those props forward. And don't do that. This is why it's a sim. This is why it's a good thing. You can see the point already. If this was real aircraft by now, I would have wasted so much money. Let's go and put this into helicopters, and I can show you how it works with those. It's pretty crazy. So, in terms of the helicopters they got a lot of what are called 3D helicopters. So these are the helicopters where you can actually reverse the collective pitch and make it fly upside down and do all sorts of crazy stunts. There are some easy fly helicopters in here as well, like the coaxial ones that I've got. I don't think there's a fixed collective pitch helicopter in here, but there are the easy fly ones. So there's the easy there. That's actually pretty much exactly one of the coaxial ones I've got. So this one's very, very easy. I can change my camera here. Let's get rid of the binoculars view, actually. Let's get rid of that for a second. So here are the views you've got. You've got manual zoom, auto zoom, keep in ground view, which is very good. If you go manual zoom, then you can actually zoom in yourself and have it exactly where you want it, which is very nice. We're going to put it on keep in ground view. I will pop open my binoculars once again. There we are. These is very easy helicopter to fly. Doesn't have a lot of forward momentum when it gets going. Yeah, you can't get this thing going very, very fast. But it's a good starter helicopter. And it does fly in the sim here almost exactly like the real one. I mean, I've got the, you can see the right stick pitch is pushed almost fully forward, and we have no speed, which is almost identical to the actual real version of this. It's very cool. But you don't get this sim to practice flying this helicopter. This is a relatively cheap helicopter, and if you wreck it, it's really not a big deal. So let's put this on the ground, and let's choose something more sensible. So, back over here. Here's the next step up. This is a collective pitch, not fixed pitch. This would be the next thing that I want to get into myself. And it's a 3D capable helicopter as well, I think. Why are we not working? There we are. So another electric helicopter, I think. And a lot more challenging to fly now. Very hard to keep it in the hover. And I'll show you the training in a second. There are training exercises you can do to practice hovering and maneuvers like that. But much more of a challenge to fly. But a lot of fun. A huge amount of fun. You thought I was going to wreck then, didn't you? I did too, actually. Must admit. See if we can land this. There we go. Let's fire up one of the scary 3D helicopters. And I'll show you what I'm talking about with 3D. And I'm really terrible at this. And I know some of you... I know one person in particular who watches this channel who is a bit of an expert with this stuff. So forgive me. But this is a 3D, proper 3D helicopter. Which means it will do crazy bonkers stuff that you would rarely see or never see in real life. Like... Let's get this going. Over we go. And there we go. We are very, very much upside down. And down we go. Anyway, I'm sucking terribly. If you reset and everything's wrong, you get this little pop-up up, which is great. So let's reset everything where it should be. What do you want now? What do you want from me? Idle up and the throttle. There we go. So it's giving you little tips like that. Never handle a helicopter without resetting your controls. Let me show you these training menus. So if we go up to training, we can go to heli hover training, auto rotation training, or orientation training, which is very useful if you're learning to fly helicopters. They're actually very hard to control initially when they're facing you, because left and right are reversed, and it feels like pitch and pitch in particular is reversed, and yaw. But the orientation trainer will get you into the groove, as it were, with that without wrecking your helicopters. It's still very hard to do. But if we go heli hover training, let me show you what that's like. So this is the heli hover trainer. This trainer will help you learn how to hover a helicopter, use small stick movements, blah, blah, blah. We need to keep it inside the circle. Simple as that. Now it wants me to set my collective pitch to neutral plus 10%, which is about there. It wants me to set my idle up switch to normal, and my throttle hold off. Good. And the idea now is just to keep it within that circle. Now this is obviously a gas-powered helicopter, a little bit noisier than the other ones. and we can just practice keeping it in the circle. And if we want to get really good, then we will turn it around. And boom, straight away we're outside the circle. So when you leave the circle there, it resets or breaks the aircraft, which is kind of cool. Let's go into exit here, and I'll show you one of the other trainers. Oops. Training, let's see the orientation trainer. This one is crazy hard. Level 1. Now there's a countdown on here. You need to match the instructor a number of times and it increases in the level. If you don't do it within the time limit, then obviously you fail. So I'm going to try to match the trainer here. I add it a little bit. There we go, I matched him, so now he's going to move position. And ultimately he'll start turning around as well, to really get you to exercise learning how to cope with the aircraft pointing towards you or at strange angles, which is very much surprisingly hard to do. See, I'm really terrible at this. But that's another reason for getting the sim, to be honest. Although I am terrible now, the plan is to not be, over time, to spend a lot of hours in this and get very good at it. And then I can start thinking about investing in expensive models myself, or not even expensive ones, but not have to buy a model and then 3 extras as parts, you know? And there we go, slam. There's other trainers in here that you saw. Let's kill this. We will exit, and you can select a level based on how high you got in previous levels. You can record flights as well. We have airplane hover. Check this out. This thing is insanely bonkers. Here we go. Learn torque rolls in all directions, activating control surfaces, blah, 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 blah. The idea is to hover an aircraft. So, set your throttle to 60% power, like so, and good luck. We're gonna go. No, we did. You get the idea. But that's obviously one of the stunt aircraft, and you can hover those things. They're so overpowered, it's insane. But other stuff we can do here, if I pop up the menus, you can actually put in wind. You can put in thermals. You can change the sun's position and how that's casting shadows and light. You can set wind in here and turbulence, which is awesome. There are even scenarios. So let's go up to scenario training here. We'll drop this down. Most often used scenarios? No. Let's go all scenarios. So aero tow. So we're starting at a field called Palace. There are a number of fields. Place your glider as pilot your glider as the tow pulls you 700 feet in the air. Then cycle the channel 8 3-position switch forward and backwards to release the line. The tow plane gives 2 wags of the wings as a warning before beginning its descent. So this has crow mixing, whatever that is, controlled by the throttle stick, and a retractable wheel on channel 7. So let's try it and see what happens. The gliders are a lot of fun in this. I have flown gliders a lot. Never radio control aircraft, but I flew a lot of gliders back in England. South Downs was fantastic for that. Here we go. Stay level with the tow plane. Let's change my zoom here to keep ground in view. We will pop open that binocular view. It's very useful to have. There we are. Alright, we'll try to keep in plane with the plane. You see it's very hard to see already. Whoops. So we'll let him go downwind, and then we'll cycle the controller to drop the rope, which we'll do right about now. Done. And we are flying. So the engine you can hear obviously is the tow plane. It's still up there, but now we're actually flying a glider behind a tree of all places. Not a good idea. And as he said, we have retractable gear on this, which are currently up. You can do ridge soaring on this as well, and you'll get a graphical depiction on screen as to where the winds are. Now, I know I shouldn't be flying this towards me, towards the airfield. Never a good idea, but I want you guys to be able to see it. Oh, the wheel is down, actually. Whoa, now it's up. Pretty cool, right? Let's rewind that. I love that rewind feature. So what I could do, I guess, at this point, if I wanted to try and be good, is try and land it. There we go. We landed. That counts as a landing. Any landing you can walk away from, right? Very cool. Let's try a different scenario. I don't know what all these scenarios are. I haven't looked. Beginner helicopter training is a scenario. Comes with training gear on that one. Catapult launch. Oh my goodness, yeah. The aircraft carrier is one of the places you can go and fly as well. Look at this. Racing. Pylon Racing. Pylon Racing. Wow. Let's try this. I've not done this. Let's pop open my Binocular View. Good. Let's go Pylon Racing. Don't know how. I guess I need to turn around and go around this pylon first. No Red Bull Air Racer am I. That was pretty terrible. There we are. We do have smoke. Cool. Makes things a little bit easier. I didn't even go around that pylon. Oh my goodness. There is a view you can press. I think it's X. There we go. Which gives you kind of an overhead view. So you get a better idea of what you're doing. Which is useful for pylon racing. Again, nowhere near the pylon. But you get the idea. That's a horrible view. I really don't like it. Oh, no. Those poor people. And so on. And so on and so on. Oh my goodness. Oh, nice stall. Little slide. See if we can roll it. And then put it into somebody's lunch. Anyway, as always, my name is Froogle. This was Real Flight 7. As I said, you can pick it up. I picked it up for about $160, $168. And given what it's for, which is learning how to not do everything you've seen me do repeatedly on this video, crash aircraft, it's worth its weight in gold. It really is. You spend a few hours with this, I think. It goes a long way towards saving some money and being more proficient when you do get your hands on a real controller and a real aircraft. But hunt around if you're thinking of getting it. I know you can get it cheaper, and if you already have a controller, you don't need to get the one with the controller. You can get something with an interlink box and plug your controller into that, and that's even cheaper still. Anyway, as always, my name is Froogle. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'm curious how many of you are experts in the world of the radio-controlled flight. And I will see you all next time. Thanks again.